Hi everyone, welcome to the series of sewing for a customer. This is my third design that I am supposed to sew for my customer, but before I use her material, I decided to use my own material to check the fitting and check the techniques and everything. This is a sari blouse pattern from my shop, which is SB23. So I wanted to try this pattern before I cut it for my customer. So hence this blouse is for myself, and as you will notice later that I haven't done the overlocking inside just to save time and so that I could make this video quickly. But when I'm sewing for the customer, the finishing of the inside of the garment is much better. So let's get started. What I have done, as always, I have folded the main fabric and the lining fabric and kept it on top of each other, and giving half inch seam allowance, I am cutting the back pattern first. Now back is supposed to have a zipper, and hence I have half inch seam allowance there. Now I'm cutting the front pattern, front center pattern, which has a dart in the middle. So I'm cutting it on fold because the front pattern is one piece, it's not two piece, and this pattern is cut only with the lining fabric. So do use a good quality lining because the front layer of this blouse is only the lining. Now I'm cutting the side panels for the front pattern, design, and the front has to be cut in two pieces, not on fold, because obviously we have the side seam to be sewn and the center of it is supposed to be sewn with the center panel of the front. So again, half inch seam allowance, and at the side I tend to give 1 inch seam allowance for sari blouses because they are very fitted garments, and in case of any fitting issue later on, you must have extra margin to play around with that. So again, half inch seam allowance all around it and 1 inch at the side. Let's now cut the sleeves. Fold your outer fabric and cut two pieces of your sleeve. For the sleeve, I don't usually give lining. The sleeve becomes very stiff, and hence it's better that you work without lining for the sleeve. Now again, the same thing, I'm giving half inch seam allowance all around it, and at the bottom 1 inch if you're going to double fold it. But if you're keeping your fabric or your pattern in a way that you have the edge or some sort of a border at the side, then you can leave it without any, you can keep it at the selvage, and you don't need to leave any seam allowance there. So with this, I do have to give 1 inch so that I can double fold it and finish the hem of my sleeve. Now let's cut some bias tapes and some straight cut tapes so that we can do the neckline and the bottom hem of the blouse. After all your cutting is done, let's mark the darts for the back pattern. Use your tracing paper so that you have your darts marked for both the sides. The front, we have a center dart, so let's mark the center dart as well. We can't cut that fabric, it's not advisable to cut the dart there, but it's okay that you just use your tracing paper and mark that dart. Let's now sew the dart of your overlapping panel, the one which is in front, the one which is going to overlap the front pattern. We're going to fold that and mark your dart, pin your dart there as well. Let's pin the front pattern as well from the center. Mark your center dart and pin the center dart, and then keep the center panel and the side panels together and join them together. For the back pattern, keep the outer pattern and the lining together and then mark the darts and pin the darts together with the lining and the outer. You can place the patterns first together and pin all around it so that your folding of the dart and pinning is accurate and you don't accidentally move your fabric. Let's now take all these patterns to the sewing machine and start sewing all the darts. Wherever you have put the pin, do your machine sewing on all those pieces. For your front overlapping pattern, you have to double fold the neckline. Because this is not cut on bias, this is a straight line, you have placed your pattern in a way that this line is absolutely parallel to the edge of your fabric. So the grain is straight and hence you can fold it double and then sew it on the machine. The bottom of this front panel, however, is on bias, so you have to use a bias tape to finish the hem for this. Now we need to make 2 strings of fabric so that we can tie this blouse. Now, as you can see, I have cut 1/2 inch broad, and as long as you want your string to be, you can cut those, fold them inward and create 2 strings. Now, one of these strings will get attached to the front overlapping pattern and the other string will be attached to the left side of your side seam. I will show you that later, but first let's create these strings and place it at the bias tape that you just attached at the bottom and fold the bias tape inward. Now your strings are ready. Let's attach some cones, some tassels for it. Very simple. You can use the same fabric or any different contrast fabric to create those. Now let's take the back patterns, put them together at the center and give 1 inch stitch. We are just securing the neckline right now so that we can do the bias tape. For this blouse, the zipper is from top to bottom. Similarly, as in my previous video, you must have seen how I did the zipper. Same way we are doing the zipper for this blouse as well. So the front back top can be closed and then you can finish your bias tape. Let's now do the bias tape for the front V-neck also. Now because this is a V-neck, you have to be a bit careful at the center because you don't want the V to turn out to be U. So keep it very sharp. See how I'm doing it. When I reach the front center, I keep the needle in and I turn my pattern 90 degrees and then continue sewing. Now that center where I turned, I will need to give few slits, cuts at the inseam as well as outseam. That will relieve the tension of your bias tape and you will be able to sharply fold it so that it looks like a V shape. Let's now finish the hem of this pattern. Use the straight cut straps that we had cut earlier, fold them and attach it from the right side, sew it on the machine and then fold it inward from the wrong side. Place the front overlapping pattern on the inside pattern, which is also the front, the one that you made with the lining. Place them together and join it from the shoulders and put some pins at the armhole as well as at the side, just to give some security so that they don't move when we are sewing the shoulder and gives you unnecessary gathers and loops. So secure it properly, your armhole and the sides, and put some pins there. Let's now join the shoulders. Keep in mind that your right side of this blouse is going to have 3 layers that you're going to sew together, and the left side is going to have 2 layers. The right side has 3 layers because we also have an overlapping panel there. So because it is a saree blouse, the saree blouse pallu is taken from right to left, and hence we need this overlapping pattern from right to left. So sew the shoulders first and then attach the sleeve, keeping in mind that you're attaching the front side of the sleeve with the front pattern and the back side of the sleeve gets attached at the back. Now let's also finish the hem for the back patterns, back 2 pieces. We have to do this before we attach the zipper. Now the final step is to attach your zipper. As I mentioned before, in this blouse the zipper is from top to bottom, not bottom to top, because we need the waist to be loose so that you can get through your shoulder and the bust when you're wearing it. Now I have explained the concealed zip method many times in my previous videos, so you can refer to those videos. The last blouse that I did for the customer, even in that I had shown how to do the concealed zipper, and the method was same because the back design was the same. So you can refer to that to see how that zipper was done. However, the demonstration is shown in this video as well. Remember to fold the edges of your zippers inward so that it gives a nice finished look. And with this, your blouse is ready. I hope you had fun watching it.